Spring has finally sprung, and there's just no better teacher when it comes to design than nature itself. Patterns and radials are found everywhere in nature, and lucky for us, Adobe Illustrator put those features inside the app. So using these tools, we're going to replicate nature, and we're going to make our own patterns. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Alright, so I want to create a pattern of a bunch of different plants, things that bloom. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start by adding a background layer, just because I don't typically like working with a white background. That's not the case all the time, but a lot of times I like to just start with some color. So that's what I'm going to do. Get some color in here. I think I'm going to do something subtle, like a tan or something. That's actually not bad. We'll roll with this for now, and I might change it in the future, but we'll see. I'm going to lock this layer, come to my layer panel, and we're going to add a new layer. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variety of just a bunch of different plants, and after that we'll turn that into a pattern. But let's just start with this first. What I'm going to do first is start with some type of circular flower. I'm not going to be specific here with like this is a lily or this is a daffodil. These are just going to be random flowers that pop into my head. This is kind of a nice blue. We'll start with this. I'm going to duplicate this, slide it to the right, and now I'm going to take both of these. I'm actually going to move it a little bit closer in, a little bit closer out actually, I lied. I'm going to make sure they're aligned in the middle, and I'm going to use my Pathfinder tool, and I'm going to intersect, convert to path, and so now I have this standalone, we'll call it a petal. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a little bit of detail onto this. So I'm going to get my rectangle tool. I'm going to draw that right in the middle. Again, I'm going to do my Pathfinder tool, and I'm going to shape build. I'm just going to draw right here, and that's going to delete this. So what I have here is half of this shape. So I can pull this down, make it a little bit darker, and now I have a little bit more depth on this, right? So here's where it gets cool. This is kind of the whole premise of this video, why I wanted to make this. I'm going to show you some really cool things that you can do in Adobe Illustrator iPad. So down here in the bottom right is the repeat tool, and right here I have something called radial. I click that, and you see where we're going with this. So the radial tool is really cool because there's a lot of different settings I can do to make this look the way I want it to look. So I think I want to do 8 petals. I can actually rotate this, so if I only wanted to do half, I could do that. I can also rotate the like the angle of it, so I can get really fun with it, but I like it the way it was. So I'm just gonna 2-finger tap that just to get that back. So now, actually I wanna adjust this a little bit more. I want the petals to come inwards more. So what I'm gonna do is grab this little white ball right here and just bring that in just a touch. I think that's gonna be good. And I'm gonna come and get my ellipse tool again. I'm just going to draw a circle, make sure these are lined up. So the center. And just like that, I already have my first flower. See how simple that was? I mean, what have we been doing this? Maybe 2 minutes, and I already have my first thing. So pretty stoked on that. I'm gonna group it, and I'm going to shrink it, and we're just gonna leave it right here for the time being. All right, so I like this idea. I like how this looks. I wanna do something kind of similar. So I'm going to grab my ellipse tool again, draw that out. This time, what I want to do is I want to adjust this a little bit. So I'm going to grab both of these. Actually, I'm going to grab this guy right here and just pull it in. We're going to get it like 12%. Now I have a nice little petal right here. I like the way this is looking. So I'm going to change the color on this one. Maybe we'll do some type of like some orange or something. I think that'll be good. And again, I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. I'm going to cut it right in the middle. Whoopsie. And you know, if this wasn't for a tutorial, I might spend a little bit more time working on this. But I'm just trying to be quick right now so I can get the idea across to you guys. I'm going to shape build that. Again, we're going to take this, drag it down a little bit, make it a little bit darker. And just like we did with the other one, we're going to group this. We're going to go to our blend tool, or our repeat tool, it's a radial. And I'm going to adjust this setting. All right, let's get the little center piece in there right here. Make sure they're lined up. All right, these are looking cool. Let's make one that has a lot more detail. So again, I'm going to grab my ellipse tool, stretch this out. We're making that petal again. So I'm gonna move this over. I'm going to intersect, convert to path. This one I'm going to round the corners off a little bit. I don't want them sharp. So that's looking nice. Now I'm gonna have some fun with this. I'm gonna start adding some patterns and just making them look cool. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm going to get my pencil tool and just add a nice little wave right here. All right, so we're gonna do shape builder, cut that. And here I can make this a different color. So we'll do the way, like maybe a pink. I think that's good. I want my blob brush selected. And this will just do like little dots. But we're getting very like almost Eastery here. So play with this a little bit. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want it to look nice. Something about this arrangement I'm not digging. So I'm just gonna keep playing with it till I figure out the orientation that I like. All right, I think that will do it right there. All right, and now I'm gonna add a quick little shadow on here. So I'm gonna go to my pencil tool. Just draw a quick little shadow where that would be. That's gonna be black. And then I'm gonna drop the opacity. I don't want it super crazy, so I'll do like 10%. And we're gonna do our shape builder tool again, because I want it to cut just the shape. Now I can take this, and again, you guys should get the idea by now. We're gonna do the radial tool. We're gonna get a nice little pattern. Alright, since we're turning this into a pattern, what I want to do next is just add some random little things so when we make the pattern it looks nice. What I'm going to do first is start by just creating like some random leaves. So I'm going to grab my pen tool and we're just going to draw some random leaves. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. We're doing like a little bit more of an abstract style anyways. So I'm just going to draw some random leaves and we'll go from there. So this is kind of messy, but I think that's the best part about doing nature. Is it can be messy, it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, so I want this to be green, we're going to change it green. And I want it to be like a darker green, I think. Still in that like pastel area that we've been in. But something like that, I think that's good. Now I'm going to grab my pencil tool again, but I want it to be on stroke. And I'm going to grab this green, but I'm going to make it really dark. And then I'm just going to draw some lines in here to make it look like the webbing of the leaf. Alright, so I like how these look. I'm going to do a little bit of adjusting. I'm going to thicken this up a little bit. And then I'm going to come over here to my properties. We're going to round these caps a little bit. Maybe I'll even mess with the width profile. I don't know if I love that too much. So I'm just going to keep it normal. But I like how it's rounded. It gives it a lot more character in here. I'm actually going to adjust this just a touch because I don't like where that is. Same with this one. Cool, and I'm happy with that one. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to group it, shrink it. All right, so now I'm going to do something very similar to what we've been doing. This is just going to be a simple like leaf or a petal. I want to do green. But again, we're taking these ellipses and we're doing the intersection. Come over here, intersect, convert to path. Perfect. And again, this is pretty much how we made the first flower. It's actually not pretty much, it is how we made the first flower. But I want to add some leaf elements to our pattern. So again, shape builder. We're just going to group this. Now we got a nice little leaf in here. And here's something I want to show you guys too. Like say for example, we have this leaf here. For this pattern, it's not exactly what I want to do. But if I wanted to make a stem, like if I wanted to make the full flower, I could take my pencil tool and I can just come over here and make a little line like this. I can bump up this stroke. I don't want to fill on it. And then I can come over here to my properties, round off the ends, and I can go to Object, Create Stroke Outline. So now you see I have this. This is its own shape. I could actually add a stroke on top of this too if I wanted to, but I don't. I'm going to throw it in the back. And I have a nice little stem, and I could take this leaf that we've made over here and I could just add these on it as well, and there you have a nice little flower, a full flower, if you wanted to do a full flower that way, which is really nice. All right, so now I want to add like a tulip looking flower, so I'm going to come over here to my ellipse tool. You guys can already guess what I'm going to do. I'm going to make another intersected shape, like a petal looking shape. I'm going to intersect, convert to path, Now I'm going to grab the bottom of this one and I'm just going to pull it all the way up, or a good bit up. Change this color. We'll do something like an orange or something. Now I'm going to duplicate this, pull it over just a little bit, make this darker, throw it behind, duplicate one more time, a little bit darker. And that's a super quick, simple way to make a tulip. I'm actually going to rotate this a little bit. So I'm going to rotate this maybe negative or 12. And then we're going to do this one the opposite, so negative 12. And we're going to leave this one directly in the center. So I'm going to come over here, align to bottom, and then distribute evenly. And I'm going to group this. And that's a nice little tulip right there. I'm actually going to make this a little bit higher so you can see that. We'll put this right here. So now I have a bunch of different flowers. I could do this all day. I mean, we could literally make these type of flowers. There's so many different variations you can do. That's why I love the radial tool. But for this video, I just want to show you how we can take something like this and turn it into a fun pattern. So I'm actually going to switch these around a little bit, make these a little smaller. I'm just going to give them a nice orientation, and we're going to do something really fun with this. All right, so I'm going to line these up, distribute evenly, same with here. I'm going to line these up, distribute evenly. Now I'm going to take all of these. I'm going to shrink this down a good bit. Make sure you're holding your shift tool when you do that. I'm actually going to group these for now. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do a grid. And now you see where we're going with this. It's getting kind of cool, right? So I'm going to set my parameters. I want it to be on the canvas, obviously. And then there's a ton of settings we can play with. That'll be in my properties. So I can do different grid types. This will arrange them a little bit differently. It'll offset it. I think I like the offset of this one. I can do flip row, so I can do some upside down. This is gonna add some more variety to the pattern. And then I can flip the column. I don't like that one, and I don't think I like that one either. So I like it the best like this. And I can even edit these even more. So if I want this to be closer, I can do it closer. If I want them farther apart, I can do it farther apart. And just like that, guys, we have a super simple spring pattern. We knocked this out in no time. This did not take a lot of work, not a lot of measuring. We let the app do a lot of it for us, but it turns out really nice. This would look good on a ton of different products, a ton of different prints, and you could just vary this so many different ways. So hopefully you guys were able to follow along. I'd love to see what kind of patterns you guys made. Well, guys, that's all I got for you. If you liked today's video, you already know what to do. Until the next time, peace.